Hello, Internet. Anyone here? Welcome to the Bob and Steve launch stream. I have to get used to this new setup. Hello, my name is Stijn Kuipers. I am the designer behind This Is Not Rocket Science. Shortly we'll be joined by Priscilla, the other half of This Is Not Rocket Science. And today we are going to show the functionality of our new Bob and Steve deconstructed reverb. If there is anyone now in the chat, can everybody hear me correctly? Is this okay? Meanwhile, I'll start doing some background bleeping here. Around me, I have a whole bunch of other things that can make sound. Somebody asked me if I could have an elements, perhaps to demo. So down here, I have a Cologne mutable instruments elements. I have an SDSV by Timo Roosendaal. To the side, I have a geometric anomaly to play with. And let's see what else do I have here. I have a MIDI keyboard because the whole thing can do MIDI. So yeah, I brought a bunch of toys. And let's see, is Priscilla here yet? I think I heard her coming. Yay! Welcome, Priscilla.
Hello.
Show yourself on camera, please.
Hello. Cheers.
Hello.
Hi.
So where shall we start, Priscilla? I already well, I'm here. People can hear us.
Great. Well, do you want to start with the Bob and Steve, maybe? Do you want to start explaining the thing or explaining why it took so long first?
The Bob and Steve first, I think.
All right. So, shall we start with the diffuser? Yeah.
So, Bob and Steve. I'll zoom in a bit again. It's a bit there. So, Bob and Steve is a deconstructed reverb. Let's see if I can move it a bit to the side of my own face. Yeah. It's a deconstructed reverb, and what we mean by that is that usually a full reverb has a whole bunch of things happening to your sound. Like you make a sound, it hits the wall, it hits you, it hits other walls, it hits you again, and it keeps bouncing around in the room lots of times, and then you finally hear it again. And these phases have traditionally been described as, well, the direct sound. It hits you, bam. Then slightly later you get the early reflections. These are very distinct bounces from like the wall directly beside you, so it goes straight to you, but it also goes against the wall and then to you. And then after a while, all these early reflections, they become more and more blurred, and it becomes a dense tail. So you have the pre-delay, that's the time from when the sound originally happened before it hits you. Then you get the early reflections, there's the distinct bounces around you, and then you get the tail, that's sort of the whole wash afterwards. But traditionally, this is sort of one monolithic algorithm, and there's a whole bunch of things that are happening inside that are, well, if you're making a really nice reverb, it's actually much more optimal to write them as one gigantic reverb. But this being a modular synthesizer module, it makes a lot more sense to have them exposed separately, and each part on its own can go to 11 in its own ways. So yeah, the deconstructed reverb, the stages I just talked about. There is the pre-delay, so nothing happened yet. Sound comes in, you get a delay before anything comes out, and in more traditional sense, at least in all the effect space, if you talk about delay, it's not just like, oh, let's wait a minute and then something happens. People are more used to like, well, to have more variety in like a ping pong delay or something that has a feedback or filter in the feedback, or even waveguides, or all kinds of things that have their own way of playing with them. So instead of a normal pre-delay, we added this whole delay section where you get 3 different modes: ping pong, waveguide, and multitap. And for all of those modes, these 3 knobs, length, pattern, and feedback, They do something slightly different, but pretty much related. And in the whole path of in this whole deconstruction, that has become the second knob. You can fade in the amount of delay you want in your signal with the second knob in this path down here. You can also see the whole signal chain on the module down here. There's a wet path and there's a dry path. And the wet path goes past the diffuser, then to the delay, then to the tail, and then to the main output, and then out. And there's a tiny special thing down here. The dry path also goes into this envelope tracker that you can use for extracting some interesting CVs from your audio to self-patch and to fix it. We'll get to it later. So, first of all, we have the pre-delay became the delay, then the diffuser, the early reflections became the diffuser. It's in DSP terms, it's usually a diffusion algorithm or diffuser algorithm. We made a whole bunch of all-pass filters with an interesting field to blend around through. Because the whole space is a bit abstract, we just made one knob called flavor. So you can set the amount of diffuse you want, and you can give it a flavor. So let's hear what the diffuser actually does. I have this microphone. Should be, of course, it's on the second one. Right now there's a whole bunch of reverb. Oh yeah, sure. Headphone for you. So let's give this thing to Priscilla, and she can showcase the diffuser for us.
I'm just gonna sing. You're gonna do the diffusing, right?
Correct.
Correct. Okay. Good. Ready? I'll wait a little longer while we are getting stronger. I know it's taking time to heal. We'll be unstoppable. I don't know what I did it for. I needed to know that it was always real. Continue, please. Bopp, lyrics. By lyrics.
I'll just talk. It's very clear.
You can just hear by the sound of my voice. I could read the manual. Shall I read the manual? About the diffusion. About the diffusion on this thing. What does it do? What does it do? I can hear it do stuff. What is it doing?
It's simulating early reflections.
Simulating early reflections, which, if you could see the manual, we have a tiny little comic of Bopp and Steve explaining what early reflections are. We're back to normal now. Well, this is just me.
This is just you.
Okay.
So I hope that was the well, I could hear it. I hope the stereo field survives the YouTube algorithm and the compression. It's a very small effect. It's almost sort of psychoacoustically turning things inside out. This is on its own. It's not so noticeable yet. But as soon as you combine it with all the other stages, things get more and more intricate really quickly. Because with a tiny bit of early diffusion, it splits out the first bounce into like 10 or 20 bounces, and then from there, if you have an algorithm that takes one bounce and makes it into 20, if you start at 20, you go to 400. So this early diffusion stage, early reflection diffusion state, makes all the other things sound much richer when you use it. But yeah, in terms of complexity, this only has one flavor knob and one amount knob, so that's about it. But I will be using it in combination with all the other parameters later on in the stream. So now we go to the second one. Second one is the delay, and the delay is well, it goes a little bit like this. Delay. And this is currently it's set to ping pong. You can also tap it to tempo sync it, or give it a gate to tempo sync to that. then this becomes a ratio. But right now, this is just delay length. So let's try that. And I will give this to Priscilla just to sing again.
Continue with the song. Our heads held high when we walked down the line. On and on through the clear night. We'll be at peace, we'll fly. Our hearts sounds like a sad spinning away. Almost lost faith, leaving no trace.
So that was the ping pong delay. I still have the diffuser a bit on. I hope you guys also heard the effect that adding the bit of diffusion added to the whole tonal quality of this delay. So let's go to before going into the wild modes, let's go to another classic one, the multi-tap. So multi-tap. This is always does a few taps, tap. And there's feedback, and then there's filters in the feedback. So lots of stunt work. We can also hear it on Priscilla, of course.
Same thing again. I was like a satellite spinning away, almost lost forever and leaving no trace, floating through the darkest reaches of space to another galaxy. Our polarity shifted around. There was nothing else left holding us down. It's just gravitational. We are unstoppable.
So let's see. Those are the two normal. Those are the two normal delay effects. Then there's also the waveguide. The waveguide is it's almost a physical modeling plug string tube. It's a tiny resonance base, and because it's so tiny, you can use it as a tonal thing. You can also even play melodies on it by using the CV over here. But let's hear what it sounds like on me first. Let's see. So right now, the pattern becomes a filter frequency divider. Let's see let's set this to maximum. No diffuse. More. is me on waveguides. Let's try Priscilla again. See what she makes out of this. So, Priscilla on waveguides, but as you may also have seen, I've used now the envelope tracker output to change either the pitch or the feedback of this waveguide, so you really get more interactive behavior out of this thing. So it only starts feedbacking if I put audio in, if I put the envelope on, and as soon as I stop, the feedback also stops, so it doesn't keep screaming forever. And maybe do that in places where you don't want. So there's all kinds of tricks you can do with this envelope tracker like that. But now we go to the main tail of the reverb. Well, there's a bunch of different ones. The first one is the dense one. Now let's just enable this on me first. So now just standard reverb. La. Can change the temperature a bit. High. Can make it sound like we're in a very big concert hall. Or more muffled. And a slight special feature for this particular reverb, it has chorality. And chorality transforms part of the reverb algorithm that technically in DSP terms already looks like a chorus anyway, and just sort of dials up the chorus amount. So if I go makes me sound a whole lot more choral than just me dry. But again, this works much better on Priscilla, so here we go.
Let's chorus you. Chorify. Our heads held high when we walked down the line, honey, on and on, through the clear night sky. That we and peace will fly, our hearts collide, can't escape the magnetic side. Let's be and peace will fly, our hearts collide, can't escape the magnetic side.
Yeah. On to the next tail. Let's see. We have the float tail here. Float is again kind of a standard reverb tail. But this one has a shimmer in the feedback path, and the chorality works slightly different, so it just has a different flavor to it. Like a room or a hall reverb might be different. This is just more flavors of tail to play with. Let's see. Let's put this on, and now I have a shimmer on me. Keeps going up. now in combination with the diffuser and the delay. Da 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 ba 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 wow. And that's I think Priscilla also would like to try it. I think Priscilla would also like to try this.
I was like a satellite spinning away, almost lost forever and leaving no trace, floating through the darkest reaches of space to another galaxy. Our polarity shifted around, there was nothing else left holding us down. It's just gravitational. We are unstoppable. I just can't escape the pull. We are unstoppable.
There. At the same time, I also show the user the freeze. There's a freeze knob here, which also has a freeze gate input if you want to trigger it externally. If I press it, you can see both of these three LED sets light up. You can enable if you want to freeze either the delay or the tail or both. By if you hold this, you can then tap the other one and then enable, disable either of those, and it will remember those. So now it's only, if I freeze this one, it will only freeze the delay, and now it will only freeze the tail if I press it. But let's hear what it sounds like. Let's try the delay first on me. It's on ping pong style. Let's give me only the delay. So now I have a delay, and if I freeze, I can still talk over it. Nothing is being recorded again, but the frozen sound remains. And you can play with the parameters, and they work slightly. The feedback doesn't do anything because it's 100% now. But you can play with it and sequence it and have a lot of fun. And the same works for the tail. So let's see, tail, 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 tail. So now the word tail is frozen in the tail. Hey. So more toys to play with. Now we have one last tail mode, and the last tail mode is sparse. And the sparse mode is a bit weird. It originates in the Brinta module that we made with Error Instruments. What's happening with this microphone? The Brinta module, that's what we made with Error Instruments. It's slightly granular. It's less extreme than a full-on granular synthesizer that has like 14 grains or 100 grains or whatever. This is only 4, but it plays them back, forward and backward, and it moves them around in the stereo field while it does so, and it tries and sync up from the onset of the sound using the envelope tracker to find interesting grains in the incoming material and play those, and those are played at tap intervals, or at least length intervals. Over here you can see it blink in sort of the rhythm it will play these grains in. So it's a very rhythmically applicable tail, but yeah, best to just stop talking about it and let you hear it. I'll give this to Priscilla, and here we go.
I'll wait a little longer while we are getting stronger. I know it's taking time to heal. We'll be unstoppable. I don't know what I did it for. I needed to know that it was always real. I'll wait a little longer. I'll wait a little longer while we are getting stronger. I know it's taking time to heal. We'll be unstoppable. I don't know what I did it for. I needed to know that it was always real.
Yeah. So granular sparse tail is it's strange. It adds a nice rhythmic texture. Works great on drums as well. Maybe we'll get to that later in the stream. I see some questions from the chat. Toner tick, is adding if it's possible to add a latch mount to the freeze. Yeah, well, potentially yes. I'll have to check if I can figure out an easy way to actually show that it's latched or not. But for now, it's just either press it down or send an open gate to it, and it will freeze. Perhaps in the future we can add a setting for that, but it's not planned yet. But who knows? If somebody has a very good UI suggestion for it, then I'm open to that. And then the other one is other question: can the delay be clocked? And the answer is yes. There's this tab button. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's clocked, and now it's in multiples of the clock. So it's not exactly the same blinking, but it's the same speed or twice or 1/3 or other integer ratios. And then the tail, the sparse tail is also clocked to the same ratios as these. And if you press it again, it goes off again, and you can clock it using the tap input gate. So that's definitely that's fully supported, and it's a lot of fun if you have it sequenced and then have nicely rhythmically appearing delay bounces. But now we get to the next region, which is not an entirely natural reverb region, but we already had a sort of version of it inside the float tail, because the float tail has shimmer, and the shimmer is built using an octave pitch shifter. 1 octave up is usually is what people do. But while designing this thing, I thought it might be much nicer if you could do things like have instead of just 1 up or 1 octave down or just 1 note. I decided to put a completely user controllable pitch shifter on the device, and because the pitch shifter is such a powerful tool, I didn't want it to be just in the reverb, and so with this pitch point button, you can choose around the module where the pitch shifter ends up. In this case, right now it's off. But if you follow all these white arms of the comet backdrop, you can see all the places where it can go. So right now it's on the input of the wet chain, then it goes to the input of the diffuser, then it goes to the input of the delay, in the feedback path up here. And there's the tail input, then the end of the wet chain, so the whole wet signal gets pitch shifted and then gets mixed to the dry signal.
Then there's also the dry signal pitch shifter.
Yay! I couldn't avoid that one. So that allows a lot of interesting sound design possibilities. Like where shall I start? Let's add it to the diffuser first. So set this up a bit more standard. There we are. There's no diffuse going on, but there's a lot of reverb and a lot of tail and a lot of delay. And if I add the diffuse, I can slowly add a pitch shifted version of myself to it as well. So it's diffused and pitch shifted at the same time, but before it goes into the rest. Let's see. So then there's more things to this region. There's the obvious thing for pitch shift is transpose knob, like how many semitones up and down does this get transposed. This is quantized, so you can only hit actual semitones. Then there's the control knob, which for each of the 3 different modes that we have does something else. For the regular mode, this becomes a portamento control. So let's see if I can demonstrate. Oh, I need Priscilla to sing something for me again. Something long and boring and only one note.
Only one note. Oh, that's very, very boring. Okay. Okay.
So that's the regular pitch mode. Now you go to the next interesting one, or the next my favorite one, the chord mode, which splits up the pitch shifter into 3 different pitch shifters, 3 separate stereo pitch shifters, and they all play a different note from a chord. And then the control knob allows you to set what chord you're doing, or if you have a MIDI sequencer, you can use these MIDI inputs here, the MIDI input, to just play live chords into it. In regular mode this works as well. You can just play MIDI notes to it and the pitch shifter will shift using that amount, but for chord you can actually send 3 notes at a time and it will make a whole chord out of this. So on me this sounds like as usual. This sounds much better on Priscilla. So here we go.
One note? More notes. Hmm? One note.
And dry, I don't sound like anything at all. But Bopp Steve makes up for a lot of my lack of singing. So this is currently set up into the diffuser of the reverb. More traditionally, it's done at the start of the reverb tail itself. So the delay taps are very much clean, and then you get only the chords in the tail, and that sounds like this. This. La. 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 La.
This is a journey into sound. Into sound. Into sound. Into sound.
So yay. So yay. Those are well. Then there's one last mode. This is the free mode, which is less applicable to voice, I think, because it's mostly about detuning something, which we really like in things like sawtooth oscillators, but less so if it's a very detuned, yeah, in humans. Oh, sure. Priscilla wants me to. Well, she asked if I can detune her as well. Let's try this.
Our heads held high when we walked down the line, honey, on and on through the clear night sky. That's the peaceful flight, our hearts collide, can't escape the magnetic side.
So things get very evil sci-fi villain vibe very quickly, but it works really nice for synthesizer lines and stuff like that. Which leads me to the I think the next bit of the stream. So shall we try this on some synthesizers, or maybe do a round of questions?
There's no question. Would anyone like some questions?
Please, you need to use the microphone if you say anything. Does anyone have some questions so far? I mean, we're here with. I see there's a whole bunch of people in the stream. Shout outs to everybody that's there, of course. Bata, Antonik, Neon, Katra, Valentine, and Tonertik. Well, at random.
And 15 other people who are watching.
Yeah, 15 other people also watching. Yeah, please send us any questions while you do that. I'll set up some new sounds to show these elements that I promised, because I haven't tried that for ages either. So I'm very curious what would come out of that. I give the microphone to Priscilla. I will be doing some patching.
Do I need to do some saying or no? Just hold it. Just hold the microphone stand here. Be a decorative microphone stand. Wonderful. Zooming out. Oh, so the elements can also be in the shot. Ah, there we go. So what is going through the what now exactly?
We have one element, mono output going into mono input on the Bopp Steve, and dry it sounds like, and wet it sounds like.
adjusting the mixer. While Elements is being Bopp and Steve's, there's some discussion in the chat about the freeze functionality.
So let's see. People have been typing some stuff into the chat. Let's freeze. Well, sure. Let's see what we could actually do the long press thing. Long press to latch, and then also long press to release, or just instant release. That would be a very nice thing to add for the next thing. Yeah, but then that's only for the press and not for the gate, I would say, because that would become kind of confusing. And also for the whole interaction, if it's latched, possibly blink the freeze, but then not interact with the tail and delay to sort of to disable the freeze, because right now if you actually press it down, these two change function. So yeah, I'll definitely I'll put in that latching mod. That seems like a lot of fun to do. And then you can have your hands free to do other things, which sounds like sounds like a good thing. So yes, let's go for that. It won't be in the first version that's already being sent out across the across the sky to all retailers. But this will definitely be somewhere in next week that I can take a look at adding this. What else is there? Beat latches the seed either plate delay into plate with MIDI or CV. Yeah, we can also add a freeze node on node off, because there's MIDI anyway, so I can then definitely also add MIDI freeze to the whole thing. Would have to come up with a nice node number, maybe any node on channel 2 would just freeze or unfreeze. That's definitely an option too. I need to take some notes here. At least the chat is saved, so I can read all this back. Let's see what else. I think that's the question so far. So yeah, let's add some more stuff to this.
What are you gonna add? What else are you gonna do?
I'm probably going to add this anomaly, right?
Ah, a geometric anomaly. Wow. Just a bit with one Bopp and Steve. Can we hear just a little bit with one Bopp and Steve? So the input here is the elements, right? No, it's the anomaly, geometric anomaly. Okay.
And back to the dry sound. So we have a tiny anomaly sound, this tiny blip, which is going into the Bopp Steve, it gets diffused, and then it goes into the delay with pitch in the feedback and some reverb after it goes up. Instant Wayback or Dream Machine. Yay! So what else do we have? I think we're almost done for our streaming. We have a few more minutes. So any last second questions? Now would be the time. Otherwise, we were talking about rhythmic. I can set up some rhythmic stuff now if you want. So yeah. Oh, there's oh, thank you, Tunertik. Still don't know how to pronounce it. Yay! Yes. Yes.
Also, the LFO is still an LFO.
Also, the LFO is still an LFO. It's also a drum module. There's reasons for it. I'm sorry that those reasons didn't mesh with your needs. But yeah, we tried and make this reverb into an instrument on its own. You can really just play this with one four per octave and make melodies with it and go wild. We're really looking forward to what all you guys are going to be doing with this over the coming years. But yeah, let's try one more patch with the percussive stuff. I have here. Let's zoom out a bit again. Oh, out. Oh, there. I have here the SDSV Plus by Timo Roosendaal. I have a diff skip, and I have a wobbler, and I will use those three to make some rhythms, and I'll put those rhythms through the Bopps and Steves I have over here. Yeah, so here we go.
percussive patch. I'm going to take this moment to point out that Bopp Steve is 440 euros, including tax, excluding shipping, or whatever the equivalent is in your country. You can get it directly on our website, or it is, or very soon will be available at MIDI Amsterdam, Snijderslade, Signal Sounds, Perfect Circuit, Noisebug, Modular Square, Found Sound, and Voltage Sound. Thank you so much. We are very happy to finally have our Bopp Steve out there. And we're going to end the live stream, and then we're going to run everything upstairs. And then we're going to continue to have a little party here tonight and experience the taste of raspberry, which is apparently the taste of space, to go along with our launched Bopp Steve. Space, the other way around. Space. Yeah. Okay, let me see. Check the chat. Jason will be my man. Jason's a good man. Yeah. Alright. And CV length and feedback simultaneously with identical source might yield something wild. It would indeed. Yes, Stijn approves.
Yay. Oh, Tremel is coming. Tremel is saying.
Tremel, we're just leaving. See you soon at the party. Yes. Yes. Okay. See you soon.
Goodbye, everybody.